right. Hi, Mark. I am going to be reviewing and analyzing presentation number 2. I picked this presentation because the presenter's name is Emily. She's also presenting to Netflix. And not really. I actually picked it because I found it so well done. I was really surprised actually to find out that this was a rough draft. So I thought it would be fun to try and nitpick and criticize something that I found so well put together. So let's get started. All in all, I really enjoyed this presentation. Emily did a great job branding herself. The first thing that I noticed that I really liked is that multiple times throughout the presentation, she refers to herself as creative and analytical. She says it multiple times. I'm creative and analytical, creative and analytical. I really liked that she did this because I think by doing this, she cemented in her audience's minds who she is as a person. And I also think that she says this, I'm creative and analytical, and then proves it with a presentation that is creative and analytical. It's awesome. I loved it. And I also liked the use of animation. That was really creative. She had a really impactful use of hail. She did really well using her vocal toolbox. She really clearly states her ideas and how she can help Netflix. And she offers multiple original ideas and examples of how she can boost this company, what she can do if she is invited to work with their team. It was altogether a really good presentation that I was thoroughly impressed by. I personally didn't find any part of the presentation difficult to follow. I think that Emily kept it short, sweet, yet informational and impactful at the same time. She utilized her speech very well. She had a really clear message that I was able to easily grasp. As far as advice, pretty much the only piece of advice that I could find out to give had to do with the animation. You know, as we learned in class, when you put movement on slides, it automatically draws your attention away from the words that are coming out of your mouth. And that's what happened. There were times throughout the presentation where I found myself paying more attention to the animation than to what Emily was actually saying. However, the animation did correlate with what she was saying, so I was still able to grasp the idea as a whole. So my only advice would be, if I was speaking to Emily right now, I would say, Emily, maybe instead of having animation throughout the whole entire presentation, when you're speaking on something that you want to be really impactful or something that you really want to stick in your audience's minds, just keep a still slide. You don't need to have movement so that they're honed in solely on you and not what's going on the screen behind you or however you're presenting it to this audience. That's pretty much the only issue, honestly, in the whole presentation that I could find. Emily exemplified multiple techniques that we learned from class that I think kept her presentation extremely professional and creative. The main 3 I noticed were the use of hail, like I mentioned. She really, really made the audience the hero, and she had a very well thought out story line. I think that she definitely appeals to all 3 pillars often at the same time, she's using ethos, logos, and pathos at the same time. And that's great. She did a great job appealing to all three, I think. She appeals to ethos by branding herself really well and having confidence in her delivery. She appeals to pathos by telling the story of her father, the story of her child. She uses multiple inspirational quotes, some even coming directly from Netflix's website itself, which also appeals to logos. And she uses really vivid and impactful language, which all appeals to pathos. And then finally, she appeals to logos by having a super strong beginning, middle, and end, and correlating the ideas that Netflix currently has with what ideas she can provide Netflix. I thought that was a great use of logos. And that's pretty much all I have to say on the presentation. The only thing that I could really find to nitpick was the part with animation. And I'm sure there's more. You said that there wasn't, these presentations were rough drafts, so they weren't perfect. But I'm not a creative presentation instructor, so I'm sure I couldn't find all of them. So as far as feedback, I really enjoy feedback. In fact, I actually thrive on it. Receiving constructive criticism is something really, really necessary in my learning process. It just really helps me grow, not only intellectually, but creatively as well. So I love constructive criticism. I also love giving it. I really love the challenge of constructing or of criticizing constructively. It's, sometimes it can be hard to criticize something but keep it constructive, especially if it's something that you don't particularly like. There's kind of a part of you that just wants to be like, this is awful, but it's fun to try and figure out a way to keep it nice and uplifting for a person. I love giving constructive criticism. And so this specific process and this class on a whole really have both really helped me to know which specific questions to ask when seeking constructive criticism. And it's also helped me to hone in on what other people are probably specifically seeking when they're asking me for constructive criticism. I also really feel like I've become better at constructively criticizing myself just in the course of this 1 month, which is amazing. Thank you for that. I feel like in the past, when I would criticize myself, it was not always constructive at all. So I've definitely learned how to keep my own criticism constructive as well. And that's it. That's all I have to say. On one last note, I do just want to say a quick thanks to you, Mark. I've really enjoyed this class and learning all about presenting creatively. You're a great instructor, and it's been wonderful to watch you work and see you help everyone grow as public speakers and presenters. Thank you for everything. Bye.